Hello, Menagerie. I'm your host, Mazentius, and welcome back to The Last Door Season 2 Collector's Edition. Well, I guess not welcome back per se, because this is a new episode. Anyways, new game. Okay, anyways, let's get started and see what follows us this time. Previously, on The Last Door. Jeremiah Devitt, alerted by the suicide and mysterious letter of his friend Anthony Beechworth, went in search for the memories of his past that he had lost. Devitt discovered that in the school he had taken part in a strange experiment. Its goal was to peek through the veil, the thin line between common reality and the world of horror and madness that lies beyond, under the watch of the eye of the bird. During his search, he was inoculated with the drug they had used back then. The serum made Devitt's mind travel for a few hours to the dreamlike realm of the veil. There, he met his old classmate Alexander Dupre, who urged Devitt to join his cause and cross with him to the realm of the bird. When Devitt woke up from his trance, he found himself deeply convinced by his friend's words. He traveled to Dupre's house, where he discovered his friend had dosed himself with a new serum, leaving a catatonic body behind. This new drug was capable of transporting the mind permanently to the veil and beyond. Finally, Devitt found a vial of the serum and had it injected. He met his friend again in the veil, and together they walked through the last door, entering a world forbidden to human eyes. Devitt's therapist, Dr. John Wakefield, worried by his patient's disappearance and strange visions, had sought the help of his colleague professor, Johann Kaufmann, an expert in the occult. Searching Anthony Beechworth's house, Wakefield and Kaufmann found a disturbing returned letter, in which Anthony had tried to warn Alexander Dupre of what could happen if the door was opened. He feared something from the other side might then come to ours. They are coming. None of us could prepare for this. The visions screaming were merely warning. And now it is too late. Someone's coming. They're knocking on the door, trying to get in. They are coming. I hope that there's a new intro. Last night, I had the nightmare again, but this time it was different. This time, he talked to me. It was the same unknown street, void of any sound and life. I walked aimlessly, as if I were lost. Then I could hear it. The broken tromping on the wet cobblestones, the familiar sound of approaching limping footsteps. Then, as before, he stood in front of me, gazing unrelentlessly, like he was expecting something. This time, he spoke. "Give me back what he took. Nothing else. Give me back what he took." No, I have fallen asleep again. What time is it? Dawn already? It is time. So I'm the doctor now. It was several months since Kaufman and I had found that mysterious letter in Anthony Beechwood's house. A letter never sent, with a cryptic warning of what would happen if a certain door were opened. It bore only the name of the addressee, Alexandre Dupree. We felt sure Dupree was key to finding my patient and friend, Jeremiah Devitt, who had disappeared in such strange circumstances, troubled by the depth of his friend Anthony. Devitt had visited the school of his childhood and had never been seen again. Kaufman soon conveyed to me his deep concerns and warned that I should conduct any investigations with the utmost discretion. He pursued his own research. Though his thoughts and methods remained a secret in his last letter, he requested that I visit East Hill Lunatic Asylum in London. There were reasons to believe that Alexandra had been institutionalized there for many years. I was asked to confirm this hypothesis, and if it proved correct, to gather whatever other information might arise. London, East Hill. This will be interesting. We'll actually get to move around. I've not played this before, so I have no idea what to expect. But I love doing a blind playthrough of these types of games. So this is East Hill Lunatic Asylum. I hope I can find information on Alexandre Dupree here. Sea monster found in St. Ives! News on the case of the dead ambassador! Good morning. Boy, will you give me a newspaper? Yes, sir. It's a sixpence. I'm afraid I don't have sixpence. Can you make change for a shilling? I'm sorry, sir. I can't, but you know where to find me when you have the coins. What can you tell me about this building? The asylum? I have never been inside, and hope I never will. It's full of crazies, you know. Have you seen anything unusual around here? No, but maybe if you bought a newspaper. Goodbye, boy. Goodbye, sir. Well. Good morning, madame. My name is Dr. Wakefield. I am a psychiatrist. Oh my, good morning. Forgive my manners. I get so excited when we have visitors. We don't get many these days, and certainly we are lacking experts like you. What do you mean? You lack experts? Every year we get less funding from the Crown. First the doctors start to leave, then it was the caretakers. Now very few remain, but we have a responsibility to our poor patients, do we not? We must care for them. They cannot be out. Living with the proper people, we must keep ourselves safe, and our patients too, of course. I'm looking for a man who used to be a patient here a few years ago. His name is Alexandre Dupre. Do you perchance ever meet him? Alexandre Dupre. Yes, there was one with a foreign name. I remember something of him. A good man, if I recall correctly. An educated man. But there was something strange about him, wasn't there? I believe it scared some of the other patients. You never know, but this lot. I'm sorry that I can't remember much. There have been so many people here. It is hard to keep track. Have you worked here for long? Yes, a long time. I can scarcely remember how many years. Time goes slowly in here, and the isolation. The rules don't allow us to leave. I don't know what is happening in the world anymore. We have our duty, do we not? Who else will care for our patients? May I request access to the Institute's archives? There should be some information there about a man I'm looking for. Mr. Dupre. I am sorry, Doctor, but the archives are private. We must not allow anyone to access them without the proper authority. Many of our patients come from good families, you see, and we take great care to respect their privacy. But do not look so crestfallen. You will not find much in any case. It is a long time since they have been organized. Oh, that doesn't help. A bookshelf. These books are not volumes of psychiatry or medical science, but old serial novels for patients to read. I'm sorry, sir. The archives are off limits. An oil picture portraying Dimphna, patron saint of the psychiatrist, but also of those who suffer neurological disorders and victims of incest. She was killed by her own father, who chopped off her head after she refused to marry him when her mother died. Like that isn't disturbing. A serene bucolic landscape with gentle colors. A portrait of a severe-looking man, most probably the founder of the Institute. This must be the recreational wing, where patients relax and pass the time. Perhaps here I can find someone who met Alexandre Dupre while he was institutionalized here. The stone bust keeps the patients silent company. A marble bust of Hydia, Greek goddess of physical and mental health. A cheerful pastoral scene. A sunny beach lapped by the waves of a gentle sea. A man wearing a worn-out military uniform, lost in God knows what thoughts. The warm decoration of this room suggests a great deal of sensitivity to the patient's moral needs. A variety of old-fashioned landscapes that portray nature as tame and welcoming. Like they really are all that welcoming. Good morning, madame. My name is Wakefield. I'm looking for a former patient of this institution. The rumbling. She doesn't seem to have noticed me. Madame, if I may persist, have you been living here for long? The rumbling. I am looking for a former patient of this hospital. You may have met him. An eyeless gaze. I am looking for a man that you may have met. His name is Alexandre Dupre. That seems to have upset her. What a strange reaction upon hearing Mr. Dupre's name. She must have at least met him. How can I get her to talk to me? Good morning. I'm a psychiatrist. Dr. Wakefield, quite an impressive institution you have here. Can I ask for your assistance? I am looking for a former patient of this institution. His name is Dupre. I am sorry, sir. I have never heard that name before. Maybe one of your senior colleagues could know something about this former patient? Well, you could ask Miss Riswell in the entrance hall. She has been here for many years. Maybe far too long. You know, we caretakers live here with the patients, and we are not allowed to leave the asylum's premises. This life can get to you if you don't take proper care. I try to keep as much distance as possible from the lunatics. The asylum is quite big, but I can't help but noticing... The asylum here is quite big, but I can't help noticing there aren't many patients around. Well, apart from those in the isolation ward, it is true that there are not many patients at present, but there are even fewer of us caretakers now. We are only 3 for the whole hospital. For what I've been told, in the old times, the income was enough to provide for everything we needed. A complete staff, proper accommodation for the patients, and the best doctors. But as the newer, bigger regional asylums were built, the ground support was gradually withdrawn from East Hill. Soon everyone started leaving, and this is what remains. I'll leave you with your work. Thank you in any case. Looks like a therapy log. Edward Roan, 27, acute dementia. September 25th, 1891. Mr. Roan's condition has degenerated since the last session. He is restless, as if the morphine had no effect on him. For the last week, he has been obsessive, troubled for reasons unknown. September 25th, 1891. The patient's dosage has been doubled to no effect. September 29, 1891. Dr. Woodall has been attacked and bitten in the face. 4 men were needed to subdue the patient, Mr. Rowan. 3 markings were found on his body upon examination. Self-harm is a possible cause. October 3rd, 1891. Mr. Rowan is getting better day by day, both physically and mentally. His habits have changed considerably. He now shows an interest in religion and spends his time murmuring prayers, albeit ones unknown to my colleagues and me. Therapy log. More talk on Edward, so it's the same stuff. An unusually large mirror. There's a thin piece of metal holding the window open. I don't think that was, as they said, a mirror. It really is a one-way glass. Dark as the room is now, I can see through the false mirror. There's a man on the other side, heavily restrained, desperately trying to free himself. He has an expression of unbearable horror on his face. Well, a glass jar full of transparent liquid that may or not be water. There is a coin resting at the bottom. Well, I think that's the 6 pence I need. Leave you to your work, you don't care. Mr. Conhay is very upset. Miss Conhay is very upset. Please do not distress her further. Can't talk to you. Oh. Sir? Leave me alone. I am just a coward. Okay, I missed on what he said. It's likely to happen. I would like a newspaper. 6 pence, is it? Here. Thank you, sir. Wonder if the old lady is going to want the newspaper and will let me into the archives. Why, thank you kindly. How thoughtful you are. This is the hospital archive, where a record of each patient must be stored. If Mr. Dupree was really committed at Heathshill, his file should be here somewhere. It has been a long time since this desk was last used. It is covered in discarded papers and pens and a noticeable layer of dust. The drawers are all locked. This cabinet contains many documents detailing the treatment of patients ranging from 2 decades ago to last year. His file is right here. Dupree Alexander, room 108A. All the files are missing. It is as if they had been torn out. Only a little piece of paper remains with an address written on it. Paul Street 26. Could that be where Alexandra Dupree lived before he was committed to this hospital? Paul Street? I should follow this new lead and see if it takes me somewhere useful. Let's see, all the dates of this cabinet are prior to 1870. I'm looking for a more recent file. A metal locker. A small sign reads seized objects. It is locked. I need a key to open it. The portrait of a restrained patient surrounded by caretakers and a doctor. My goodness, how quickly things in this outside world have changed. So, I can actually change location? I can. Paul Street? The door is number 24. I'm looking for number 26. Number 26. This is the place I was looking for, but the door is bricked up. I must find another way to get in. Paul Street. It ends here at this corner. The windows are so thoroughly cemented over that it almost mixes with the facade. Well, doors number 24, 26. I guess go in the back. The ruins of an old chapel apparently destroyed by fire. A mess of wooden planks and the remains of benches and chairs. What's going on back here? True. The wooden cross remains almost intact. An improvised altar covered in candles. With this candle, I can light my way through the dark. Looks like this hole leads to the building next door. I think I found my way into Alexander Dupree's house. This must be the interior of the bricked-up building I saw in the street, Mr. Dupree's former residence. I cannot tell who is depicted in the portrait since it is so badly damaged. It seems someone crushed it into the floor. The door is bricked up. A military medal. There is a relief of Her Majesty the Queen, and several pieces of metal engraved with the names of battles unknown to me. I'll take this with me. Maybe it will mean something to one of Alexandra's fellow patients in the hospital. There's a piece of paper on this table. The papers show some seemingly random letters. It seems as if half of it is missing. One man in high-rank uniform. He's missing an arm. Few books remain in the shelf, mostly doubtful treatises in chemistry and alchemy. Among the titles are Trithemius's De Lapide Philosophico, Geber's De Inventione Veritatis, the anonymous work Turba Philosophorum, and Louis Perrin's Mysteries of the Worm. Few books remain. I already read that. I was hoping to pick something up. A large metal safe. Looks like the safe is working fine. I should give it a try. Well, I know I don't know the answer to that, so I'll just have to come back to figure that out. There's something among the ashes. It is a piece of paper. It looks like some kind of message, but there's only one half there. The paper has been carefully burnt. This is strange. I put both halves back together, but some letters seem to be missing from the right half. The message does not make any kind of sense. Vidic LLM Levidium Silly. So I think it's like 6'5". Okay, I'm never good at these. Without knowing what that remaining one is, I can't guess. Six, 5. And it doesn't have anything to do with that, so... Badly damaged. Bricked up door. And is that someone? There's someone on their knees, praying. Their face is covered by a hood. Bricked up, yep, nothing's changed. Except I can now go back to East Hill and present that medal. This medal, I had one just like this. Got after the battles of Lying's Neck in Mahaba Hill in 1881, a decade ago now. For distinguished conduct in the field is said. What a farce. So, you were in the army? As I thought. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Wakefield. Sergeant William Conghill, Her Majesty's 6th Light Infantry. Are you another one of those alienists? Do you doctors not realize that cowardice cannot be cured by your arts? Why are they keeping you here? The doctors say I suffer from a nervous disorder. I believe this is a term for when they themselves, with all their learning, do not know what to say, but know the true name of my sickness. It is pure cowardice. I am looking for a former patient of this hospital. You may have met him. His name is Alexander Dupre. Yes, I did know a man by that name. We met briefly. He was here when I arrived. What do you know about him? He was a proper lad, educated. He listened closely to the stories of the other inmates, but he kept his own to himself. We talked a lot, but he was very close to Miss Conhay too. I think they got here at the same time, but when he left, he did so alone. I wonder what has become of him since. Who is this Miss Conhay? She is a patient here, the lady with a tempestuous character. You may have encountered her already. She has not been the same since Mr. Dupre left, you know? She always sits to the side, alone and silent. I doubt you could talk to her at all, even if you tried. She sees things, or at least she thinks she does. What do you talk about? You and Mr. Dupre? We talked about my time in the south of Africa. I don't like to talk about that, but he somehow made me want to. He was persuasive. He was very interested in one specific story, almost obsessive about it. He wanted to know every little detail. Could you tell me that story? I'm trying to find a patient of mine who has gone missing, and this could be my only hope of finding him. I don't like to relive those memories. A missing patient, you say? Alright. Maybe my story will be of some use then. It happened during the Battle of Mojave Hill. I am sure you have heard of it. In March of 81, the attack of the Boer army had taken us by surprise, and our regiment was forced to split up. We quickly found ourselves alone, just a few men lost on the barren plain. But I don't want to bore you. No, sir, you certainly aren't. Please continue. As I said, we were few, and we were sure the enemy was lurking out there in the cold air of dusk. A thick fog formed quickly, masking everything around us. We could barely see each other. Creepy. Oh, I thought I was already walking. I just got left behind. Then the others started to disappear in the fog, which was getting thicker and thicker. I could still hear their footsteps for a while. Then nothing. I called their names, but I couldn't hear them. I felt something in there, not far, a murmur or a beating, something alive, waiting. I couldn't help walking to it. All of a sudden, my feet felt something in the mud. A body, they were all there, dead. Only Captain Skid was alive. Then the mist cleared out. What happened? I never knew for certain. I didn't see anything, or if I did, my mind refused to bear such memories. What happened to Captain Skid? When he finally regained consciousness, it was like someone else looked at us through its eyes. I guess whatever happened affected him, changed him. I know he came back to London. Mr. Dupre asked me of his whereabouts. Maybe he tried to contact him to hear the rest of the story and was quite preoccupied by it. Do you know where I can find Captain Skin? Last I heard from fellow veterans, he had lost himself to a frenzy of alcohol and opium and bad company. This downward spiral led him, as many others, to a wretched nadir, a dirty hole, deep in St. Giles' rookery known as the Crimson Nest. Mayhap you will find him there, alive even, if you are lucky. Here, this is a picture of our regiment. You can see him there. Well, Menagerie? Seems I'm going to St. Giles. But for now, I'm just going to make it out to that section to the map. But in the next episode, we shall continue with with Season 2 of The Last Door, Episode 1. Until then, ciao ciao.